Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. Today we're going to look at the new announcement from Bandai talking about their Unison Warrior series. First, just real quick, and it makes sense with all this stuff going on, but they're delaying everything, which I think is the right move. Not only are people not going to be able to play with these cards, but people are financially a little bit worried for a couple of things. So, having one less thing to spend money on, and also not having cards come out to do nothing with, I think is good for both players and for Bandai. So that makes sense. Expansion sets we already knew went to the end of May. They said the star decks are moving to June 5th, but I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be July 5th. We'll see if that's different. And then, let's see, then the actual set is going to be moved from June 12th to July 17th. And there's also not going to be pre-release events for it, which I guess makes sense too. But there's that. And then the anniversary box got moved to August 7th. So, yeah, so there's that. I don't know. We'll see if this is the right call there, or like this is correct here. But yeah, and so they pretty much have this big spiel about. I'm not going to read all of it because it's pretty wordy, but it is a good read and what they're kind of thinking about for the next couple months, and their plans with these Unison cards and how this kind of shift in timing is affecting everything. But they also decided to drop a bunch of cards. Most of them are Unison cards too, and some Awakened Leaders as well. But yeah, since this is the first set of the Unison stuff, they want to go through there as well and talk about the strategies. So there's all that. They also talk about like new rarities and stuff like that. There won't be campaign rarities, which I think is the right call. As cool as they were, I don't think they were the right way to go. And I think they're having alternate holographic versions instead of silver foils for common, uncommons, and rares. So that'll be neat to see how that looks like. Hopefully it's not like shatter foil, because I think a lot of people didn't like that. But yeah, having 23 super rares, and I think they've changed the rates, and then also you get a bonus SR for just buying a box in general. So hopefully that will help people get stuff they want and everything. So let's go through the cards. So they put two Unison cards here, and then a couple more as well. First, Super Saiyan Brawler Legendary Unison, 2 specific yellow. Active main, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barriers, switch to rest mode. And this is a 0 token gain, I guess. It's a 0, which I think is fine. The big thing about all these Unison cards is it's going to be hard to see how easy they are to get rid of these guys. If they are good at being sticky and staying around for a while, I can see cards like this being very good. The fact that this can't replenish its own tokens, though, can, obviously means this isn't supposed to stick along for too much. But just being able to switch something to rest mode, ignoring barrier, is kind of worth the 2 energy by its. Like, if this was a battle card that says, play this card, it's a 15k, switch something to rest mode, and it can still attack. I think like this is a good card already. So I think this is fine. And then also it has this -1. You can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards at any cost of 5 or less in rest mode and KO it. Also active main, so I don't think this one is too exciting, but this could be really handy. And just the fact, like, not necessarily for a Unison card, but just the fact that this can for 2 energy switch something to rest, ignoring barrier, is already a pretty big boon. And then having like an effect that kind of lingers and like a body that lingers is why I think if you're running yellow and you're not running anything Unison heavy anyways, this could just be a nice thing just to put in there and have it stick. Next up, we've got Vegeto, Unison of Might. This one's really cool. It's 4 specific red, so this is the first like non-2 specific red one. But it still has this X cost, which means you can pay it for 5 and get 5 tokens when you play it. So, but it has this +1 active main, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 mono red battle card with any cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it. So this could be kind of nice. Like if you're playing this for 4 energy, and then you can you only play it for 2 energy technically if you're planning on playing a mono red 2-drop anyways. So this could be helpful for that. You already get the card advantage for it too. So having something with 5 tokens, I can imagine would be pretty difficult to get rid of. Unless your opponent put like a bunch of resources into it. There's also the active main for -2 till the end of your opponent's next turn. If your opponent would play a battle card using a skill, is placed in their drop area instead. This is incredibly powerful. This stops a bunch of counterplays from happening. This stops arrivals from happening. And if you play this at the beginning of your turn, this means you're safe for the rest of your turn as well. So that could have a lot of potential for that, as well as just like since this is I don't think this is a battle card like you can't get counterplayed right now for this card because I think I don't know. I'd have to look at the rulings, but this is a bow card being played. It's just a Unison card. If counter plays can be triggered off of Unison cards, this is slightly worse, but still, I think it's a really good effect and everything. And then -5, if your opponent doesn't have any battle cards in play, deal 1 damage to your opponent. I don't think this is like nice, and they always make direct damage pretty difficult to do, but the first 2 effects are already super good with this card, so being able to have this like third effect that can, at least you could tempt it to proc, it can make your opponent really nervous. And like just paying for 5 energy, and then your opponent can't do anything, they lose a life. I think that's pretty fair. All right. Also, here's a secret rare. I don't think this is the final effect. They just teasing the full art, and we'll see from there. But it's their first Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, which is super nice, and we'll just see what they decide for there. It looks like there's going to be one or at least 2 more, because it says rest of secret rares. So probably 2 more secret rares in this set, but we'll have to see from there. And then they also divide the sets based off of sagas, which they've done before. So first one is Red Pilaf. They didn't put the front side of these leaders, which is okay, I guess. The back side is usually the more important side, but it would have been cool to see if they decided to put any like new awakening conditions. They've been kind of getting more creative with them, so those are usually kind of neat to see. But we got this Yamcha. Auto, when this card attacks, look at the top 2 cards from your deck, add 1 red card among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards in your drop area, and this gains plus 5k. So if you're playing like a mono red deck, this is incredibly powerful. Like this is strictly better than drawing 1. Like this is drawing 1 off the top 2. So and the boost as well. So both these effects I think stack very nice. And then also if you have a red Unison card in play, when your opponent takes damage from non-keyword skills on your battle cards or Unison cards, deal 1 damage to your opponent, then negate the skill for the duration of the game. So this is like obviously pairs up super well with this. So if you do the minus, deal 1 damage, then you actually deal 2 damage with this Yamcha. So that could be good in itself. Obviously you'd also have to make sure they don't have any battle cards on the field, but that could be like a good extender for game. And then also we got this Vegeta Elite Unison. So when this card attacks, add a marker to it, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 5k power for duration of the turn. So that's technically it's +1. You have to swing with it. And then also active main, you can choose up to choose 1 of your red battle cards or leader cards that gets plus 5k power and can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode for the turn. So you can't choose this card unfortunately, but just the fact like this can give -5 for the turn just by swinging I think is nice. And this also, you can like do both these effects in the same turn. So you can swing, get the token, and then use the token immediately. Since this is an auto and not like an active main, I think this is obviously like a low utility kind of thing. Like this is like a cheap Unison card to use, but I think this can get like a lot of traction from it. So that works out really nice. And if you're trying to like clear your opponent's board, like this, that skill can be really helpful as well. Next is the Future Trunks Saga for DBS, and we have another Zamasu leader, which I think is super nice, and I'll have to go back and look through all like the, if you have a Zamasu leader cards, because there are a bunch of them. But when this card attacks, draw 1, and then also auto main, once per turn, place 1 of your energy in its owner's drop area, choose 1. This card gains dual attack for the turn, or choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. So I think like both these effects are pretty nice. Normally like these like place 1 of your energies in the drop area isn't like a huge thing for a lot of decks, because you just you use the energy and then you place in the drop area. So I think that's not too bad. And then also it pairs up nicely with the Zeno Cosmic Union. So so this is 2 specific energy, but for +2, which is super great. If your leader card is mono blue, place the top card of your deck in your energy. You can't play cards in your energy for the turn. Then at the end of the turn, place the card you placed in your energy with the skill in its owner's drop area. So the immediate synergy is that you can use Zeno to place an energy, use the energy, and then use this active main to get rid of the energy. So you don't actually lose any energy. You still get the +1 energy with this card, which already like this is pretty insane. And then this becomes a 4. I think the downside is that this is only 9k power, so a bunch of things can attack over it, but there's all that. And then also has the -5 that you can choose all cards in all battle areas, ignoring barrier, and shuffle them into their owner's deck. So just having a board wipe for 0 energy technically can be very nice as well. So I think Zeno's is really interesting. You have to have a mono blue leader, which I think is for the best, and there's a lot of times in the past where energy controls can been really out of hand. But I think I really like this card. Next up is the green for the Frieza Saga. So we've got this Goku. So auto burst for 3 when this card attacks, draw 1, which is pretty hefty, but also has this active main or battle. This almost looks like a surge ability, but you place 2 cards from your life in your drop area, choose all of your battle cards and your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place them in their owner's drop area. So just being able to have this threat to wipe the board during the battle step as well. Is incredibly powerful. It reminds me of what Surge Q can do, just turn off all effects during the battle. But you get to wipe the board during that. You do have to sacrifice 2 life, and I'm not sure if this is an Awaken 3 leader, that'd suck. But if this was an Awaken 5 leader, that'd be super nice. So we'll have to see what the Awaken side on this before we get a final judgment. The front side of this says. But this could have the potential of being just super duper good. And this Bardock is, from what I've seen, is my favorite Unison card so far. So it has this auto: when your opponent combos, you may place up to 1 card from their combo area in its drop area, and if you do, negate the skill for the turn. This is auto during either player's turn, so just the fact that you have this on the board for 2 energy is already insane. And it has this active main that you may choose 1 of your green battle cards at any cost of 1, KO it. If you do, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. So this is already also very, very good in a lot of ways, being able to you technically go -1, or you go even with it, but you just get the +1 here and everything. And then the -3, this gains plus 5k power and triple attack for the turn, so nothing crazy, but the first 2 abilities are I think very oppressive and can be really nice for a hand control kind of strategy, especially like this. Technically, you can get rid of 1 card out of their hand per turn for free, which is insane. So I think this card is very good. And if they're trying to attack over this early game, they need to try to combo, because most their leader only has 10k, right? And so if they try to combo to tie it, you can just get rid of their card automatically, and that just seems very powerful. And then lastly, we've got the yellow Shadow Dragons for yellow. So we've got this Go Tanks. This card is super nice as well. When this card attacks, draw 1. It also has this auto once per turn: when your opponent activates an extra card, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode. And this is either turn. So if they try to mostly this is for negates, of course. But if they're playing any extra cards, which I think more people are doing, you still get to draw 1 and switching to something in rest mode. So that's a great ability. And this could be a draw 1 to 2 a turn, which is nice. And then also auto once per turn: when you activate Unison Fusion. Jeez, this card gets plus 5k power and critical for the turn, which is also nothing to scoff at. Just having critical for technically free. You have to use Union Fusion for it, but I think this is a cool effect. And you also have the Super Saiyan Vegeta Dynamic Unison. Permanent: if all your energy is in rest mode, your mono yellow leader gets plus 5k power during your opponent's turn, which is nice. I mean, it just gives the benefit for kind of being greedy. And then also auto once per turn: when your opponent activates an extra card, add a marker to this card. So really, if your opponent tries to negate stuff with extra cards, then they they get punished by. This gets a marker, and then also you get to draw a card, and you get to switch one of the things to rest mode. So it's really makes them punishes them for doing something they want to do anyways. And then also active main for +1, you may choose 2 yellow cards in your hand, discard them. If you do, draw 2 cards. So this is just free cycle, which is nice. And being able to fill up your drop areas is nothing to scoff at either. And if you're playing a deck with Union Fusion, it can be really important to find the pieces you need. So that can be very helpful as well. And then active main for -4. During your opponent's next charge phase, your opponent can only switch up to 2 energy to active mode. This is incredibly crazy, and I think can be very oppressive if you pair it up with energy tapping stuff, which guess what? Yellow loves to do anyways. Making them only have 2 energy for their next turn can be very oppressive, and then it could be very easy to tap them out again next turn. It just reminds me of Bergamo for that. And you also, it's for 0 energy. You can potentially, if they have 5 energy tapped, if they're tapped out, that's the big thing too. They have to be tapped out to get full potential for this. But I think this can be very, very powerful. And that's really it. And it says the leader for the Dark Empire Saga is in the Star deck, and most of the black cards in this deck will be supporting that. So once we see that, I guess we'll see more of the black cards in the set, but that's really it. So really cool cards. Once again, this card I really like. I think this is really, and just the art. It's just super cool. I think this is on my list of what I think is the most powerful one I've seen. But all of these look really cool, and I think really open up the game. So that's gonna be it for me. Let me know what you think for all these cards, what your favorite leader is, and what your favorite Unison card is from this preview. And I'll catch you all next time.